my question isn't super important, I don't think, but so I asked a few months ago Angelo if I could do sessions with him. I was just asking like lots of different teachers and figuring it out. And he suggested I go to a forum called Liberation Unleashed, and they help you through a process of like the gateless gate or whatever. And I finished doing the forum thing, and what the lady that was guiding me told me was just like, she didn't, I mean, that I had, quote unquote, this sounds so bad, but like, quote unquote, graduated, and you get your final like questions or whatever, and like, so then you get told, oh, your sense of self has dropped away or something. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. It doesn't seem to be exactly the same, everything, but I'm just, from that, I'm just wondering, like, what is liberation? Because what I can say happened after that was just like, yeah, okay, there were some nice like sensations and like things that happened, and then just like a few weeks / months of just like hellish feelings just coming up and being unavoidable, and at that point I did start to doubt a little bit, and I was like, okay, well then, what is liberation? Really? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's such a great question, Brian. And Ramesh, my teacher, he used to say, it's not a fixed thing. So it's basically down to interpretation. He was like, you can't get a certificate for liberation. He used to call it enlightenment. He would be, but my friend actually, Naho, she actually did get a certificate from a Zen monastery. They told her that she was enlightened, and she got presented with a certificate for being enlightened.
So it is possible.
So it's it's a really like self-descriptive thing. So it's interesting actually, because I think I've most probably said in the past I'm liberated, but only in comparison to something else. I didn't really mean that, because in the moment I don't feel liberated or not liberated. So the idea seems a ridiculous idea to me. Like the idea, but I most probably have said it in the past in comparison, to previous experience. I had this awakening in Bali. So there's this idea that I am liberated. But actually in the moment of it, I don't feel liberated or not liberated. I'm just as I am. And that includes a human with dysfunction. Like I can see very clearly Lisa's dysfunction. And when you would say, who sees it? So my thoughts can understand Lisa's personality very well. So in my thinking mind, there is a separate thinking mind which watches Lisa's behavior and understands it, and understands where it came from genetically or from past lives or in this life, and what story and why it's doing certain things. So there's that element. And then there's this other element which is so obvious, which is this expansion back into what is. It's like a zooming into everything. So a presence that is here. But I don't know what that is in comparison to other people's experience. Who knows what other people experience, and where to branch myself on the liberation scale. Like maybe I'm right at the beginning, or maybe I'm right at the end. But then it's like, who cares? So I don't personally care. The only time I do care, so the only time it comes up in my humanness as caring, is when I feel like I'm being dishonest to people that come to my talks, or when I feel like they think too highly of me, or they think that I don't have human problems or human emotions. And then I feel a bit uncomfortable about this idea that people think I'm liberated, but that's not so often. And it was more in the beginning, I think, more than now. But apart from that, I don't care. In every moment, it just is as it is. And that's what's happening. So then for you, it's what could happen is a questioning of the Brian part of you that cares. That aspect that cares, and what it wants or what it doesn't want. So there might be a Bryant part that before it got into liberated, unleash, and afterwards it still got this dynamic of wanting to get out of some very painful emotional experiences. And that's really understandable. Emotions can be incredibly painful. So that's the exploration for you, maybe, is that part that wants to get in and out of it. And then also there could be a trying to relax those intense emotions as well. For you, what is liberation to you?
I guess the human thinks it would have been eternal bliss and the disappearance of all human problems. You know?
Yeah.
I can see that's a silly thought to have, because it's not at all what I mean, I don't know what this is, but like, it's not at all what I thought. And you know, it's if someone were to ask me, like at this stage, like, oh, I want to get liberated, or you know, how do I get into that or whatever, I'd be like, don't do it. Like, just don't do it.
Just go for money and and sex and materiality. I understand. It's a nature of the extreme mind. So it's a nature of extreme thought. And this is what it does when it gets into religion, is it sets up these extreme ideals, you know. So if we go into Christianity, we've got this this God figure, this ever perfect, all-pervading God figure in our imagination. You know, we get into liberation, it's like this experience of no suffering. Our mind is puritanical and it goes to extremities. And to me, part of liberation to me, which isn't what it might be for everybody else that's listening, is the lack of belief in the extremities of the mind. Is extremities the right word? The extremeness of the mind.
Yeah, extremes.
Extremes, yeah. So it's you know, as soon as the mind is being extreme about something, so even the idea of going to liberation on leaf, and it's not a criticism of it. You know, I've heard people have so many beautiful and amazing experiences there, but this idea that you are liberated, like, what an idea! What does that even mean? Like, it's another idea, you know, that there is no me, that there is liberation. There was a me there before or after.
Very silly,
It's the same we have in Christianity or in Islam or in Jainism or Buddhism, is we have these extreme ideas and they're very attractive, of all good, of all right.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's the nature of of a lot of emotional instability. Like, so one thing that we can do in emotional instability and personality instability is black and white thinking. You know, when we can't deal with the complexities of life and the that it's all different shades, we go into extreme black and white thinking because it feels like a safety. You know, if this person is all good, you know, if you believe that something, a religion is all good, or a person is all good, then they can't hurt you. So when there's personality dysfunction or emotional dysfunction, it's often that one of the side effects is going into extreme thinking.
Yeah.
So it's seeing that that thoughts are simply thoughts, and what non-duality is pointing to is the experiencing beyond thoughts, the presence beyond thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, thoughts still rise here all the time, and just like chaotic and complex personality funks that I don't know that I'm equipped to deal with, especially because there's a sense that maybe there's not so much someone here to like address it or to orient or to figure it out or something. I think previously there was a really deep desire to figure things out and to get things straightened out and to really, like figure out, okay, what's going to be the solution to all this? And now there's just not that interest in okay, how, whatever's arising is sort of happening and then it's gone. But then it does, there do seem to be cycles of just like hellish emotions and stuff. And maybe the system's just purging some stuff or something.
Could be.
But
what tends to happen?
I don't know if this is what.
Yeah, what tends to happen through time is it all relaxes more and more. You might not notice that, but your ideas and your ways of thinking and your seeking patterns relax more. And sometimes as they relax, they get more intense. And sometimes guidance is needed, or someone to reflect things back to you is needed. But I think that, you always do that. But it's not a sorting out. It's not you sorting things out, because there's nothing really tangible that you could sort out in this moment, but it's a relaxing of all of that, relaxing more and more, so that becomes less dense, and then the other reality shows itself more, this presence.
Yeah.
Which I feel is happening for you.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes time. You're still very young.
Yeah, there's definitely a relaxation happening, and I do think there's like things that are gone that I don't even notice are gone.
Yeah.
The dynamics.
Yeah, that's often the way. And then when you see it happening to someone else, you're like, oh, I don't experience that anymore.
Yeah. When I hear maybe a seeker asking a question or something that I would have asked, and I'm like, that's not true anymore. Or yeah. I think that's it. I don't think I can cook up any more problems.
Oh, nice. Always lovely speaking with you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
See ya.